Hello guys, my name is Joey Flex. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Donald Trump's second impeachment trial and his probabilities of actually being convicted. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm actually just going to freestyle this. So here it goes. So Trump's trial is set to begin this Tuesday, right? And both sides will present their arguments. Trump's team will claim that because he's already out of office, he cannot be convicted. They say that's unconstitutional, which, to be fair, it's a valid argument. They also claim that, he was just exercising his freedom of speech on January 6th when he incited those riots, and that, that it wasn't his words, that it was just the will of, that crowd that made them storm into the Capitol, which I think is BS, to be honest with you. And the Democrats, of course, will counter with, video footage, things he's done in the past, probably, which they should. I mean, he's known to be an agitator. I mean, I remember in some of his rallies, he verbally, literally told people to punch other people in the face, and you've seen those videos. So he has a track record of inciting violence. So that's a pretty good argument. Now, if you've been reading the news, right, it says that the Democrats and the Republicans want a speedy trial. The Democrats want a speedy trial because they need to get back on track, to get Biden's agenda through. They need to pass the COVID relief bill. So they don't want to be too held up with Trump's trial. And then the Republicans don't want a long trial because they don't want to bring more attention and focus people's attention on Trump's, you could argue, failed presidency and the events of January 6th. So both parties basically just want a quick trial of 2 weeks max. And, given the severity of what happened on January 6th, it's kind of a shame that they're trying to rush this. I mean, I can understand the Democrat side. Excuse me. We need to move on. We need to pass Biden's bills to, heal the country and get us through COVID-19, through this crisis, this health and financial crisis. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we have enough, we bring enough evidence and present it in such a way and make such an elaborate argument to make sure we convict Trump. I mean, that's probably not going to happen because Rand Paul had pretty much like a pre-vote in which he got, he put up for debate whether the constitutionality of the whole thing or whether it's constitutional to charge somebody who's already out of office. And the Democrats only got 5 Republicans on board to overturn his motion. So that pretty much sends a message to the Democrats that flipping 17 Republicans, which is what's needed to convict Trump, it's almost impossible. Noteworthy too is that Mitch McConnell voted with Paul Ryan on this issue. So it's kind of a contradiction because at the beginning he was like, oh, I'll be open to hear the evidence to convict Trump. So people thought, hey, he may be willing to actually convict him. But the fact that he voted aligned with Ron Paul, challenging the constitutionality of convicting Trump, pretty much is saying like, okay, I changed my mind. I'm actually may not, vote to convict Trump. So, I mean, Trump may get away with murder again. At least, we got him out of office, a selfish person who shouldn't have been there in the first place. But I think it's just a shame and an illustration of a flaw in our democracy that powerful people keep getting away with stuff. And my concern is that once that he's out of office, even after being kicked off of Twitter and, giving warnings by YouTube and Facebook, I think that he'll somehow find a way to try to mess up Biden's agenda and just keep making noise just as a distraction, just to perhaps build up momentum when he plans to run in 2024, which, I wouldn't hold it again, past him because he's a very stubborn person. He's very vindictive. So I think so that's something that I'm worried about. Trump continuing to have a platform in some form or another just to sabotage Biden's presidency. So I think that's a threat that the Democrats ought to look out for. Let's see what happens, in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I hope that they do convict him. I mean, the evidence is there. It's just a matter of whether the Republicans will actually have the courage to convict Trump. And it's just sad that in a first world country, in an advanced country, we're having these issues. I mean, it's obvious that he's guilty. I mean, he has a track record, and the things he said, and the result. These are the same people that claim to stand behind law enforcement. Well, because of Trump's encouragement of violence, a police officer got killed by a revenue mob. So I mean, I think we need to use this. I think I hope that the historians use these events to try to educate the people and help them grow more of a conscience, and hopefully that will translate into policy and legislation to ensure that this never happens again, and that we don't vote somebody like that into office. Those are just my thoughts. Joy Flex out.